Welcome back. I'm Dr. Andrew Wilner, author of The Locum Life, a physician's guide to locum tenens. Today we're going to talk about a very difficult chapter, Chapter 9, Hospital Privileges, State Licenses, and DEA Registration. We talked earlier about the advantage of doing locum tenens and also the 4 C's of disadvantages. And one of the biggest C's there is credentialing. The others are compensation, which isn't always regular and doesn't include benefits, cancellations, which is part of the flexible lifestyle of locum tenens, and career. The intermittent nature of locums does not lead itself to a successful academic career, if that's what you're interested in. But credentialing is important for every physician, and the problem with locums is that when you move from one hospital to another or one state to another, you have to get credentialed all over again. And it starts from the very beginning. Let me give you an example. I've been working very happily at the hospital where I am now, and I'd like to get privileges across the street at the Veterans Hospital. I started my application process in August of 2018. It is now June 2019. The hospital credentialing application process is still ongoing. Almost 1 year. How could this be? Well, they want a lot of information, just like state licensing. Let me read you a list of what may be required for your state license. This list is in Chapter 9, by the way. Summary and verification of medical education and residency training. Summary and verification of other medical licenses, current and past. In other words, if you have expired licenses, like I have a California license from 1982 when I worked there that I let go soon after, they will still want paperwork and verification of this license from decades ago. Documentation of licensing examinations such as Flex, National Boards, USMLE. Dates and location of every hospital where you held privileges. So if you're kind of a senior guy like me and you've worked locums for years and years, that list could be enormous. You need the name of the hospital, the contact information, the mailing address, the person there, their email, the dates you were there. Who remembers these things? Work history and explanation of gaps of more than 30 days when you were not employed. Well, more than 30-day gap is normal for a locum tenens physician. So you may be getting the idea here that you need to keep a document, a diary of where you were and when you did what so that you can complete these applications. At least 2 current references. Even that can be a bit challenging if you're a locums doc. When you're there, no one else might be there. And then, you get replaced. So it's tough to have good references. That's something to focus on when you are working to make connections. Documentation of specialty board examinations. Documentations of 2 prior years of CME, continuing medical education. And it's important to remember that that varies from state to state. Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, criminal background check. Well, like most physicians, you're probably well behaved and wondering why the FBI needs to be involved in your job application. But it seems that they do. Fingerprint cards. summary of malpractice actions, citizenship declaration, jurisprudence examination, not required in every state, but I've taken a couple of these, attestation to physical and mental fitness, release of liability for any harm you suffer due to the myriad of unnamed administrators prying into your private life. So my solution to all of this has been a Dropbox, and we talk about this in the office chapter of how to be organized. You need photocopies of all these documents, PDF files filed, so at least you have a head start. The next time somebody asks, here are all my documents. So, and DEA, I'm going to make a very important point here. Even if you prescribe narcotics rarely, you still need a DEA number. And that DEA number, even though it's federal, has to be specific and attached to the state you're working on. So for example, right now I'm working in Tennessee. My DEA number is attached to Tennessee. If I were to work in Mississippi, I would either have to get another DEA number and attach it to Mississippi at a cost of over $700, or I would have to change my DEA number from Tennessee to Mississippi and stop working in Tennessee. So again, for locums physicians, this is challenging because you might work in several states during the year. At one time, I had 3 active DEA numbers at a cost of over $2,000 for these separate licenses. Other aspects of credentialing, besides the fact that it takes an enormous amount of time and a lot of secretarial work, as a locums tenens physician, you're working on your own time. When you go and get your fingerprints done, that's your own time. There's no salary that's covering your time. So credentialing is a bear. Now, locum tenens agencies will help you to the extent that they can, but it's really on you to make sure all your documents are correct and up to date and that everything is there. I don't think it's ever happened to me that I filed a hospital credentialing application or a state licensing application and they came back and they never came back asking for more. There are so many details that the chances that I might make a mistake or the person on the other end might make a mistake or something's lost in the mail or didn't get entered correctly, it always happens. So recommendations. Limit your scope. You don't want a license in every state. Although that would give you the greatest flexibility to get jobs, it's not practical. 5 is a good number. I've had as many as 10, and that's very unwieldy, not only for credentialing, but then to keep up with. Choose your states carefully. Talk to your staffing agent. Say you're a neurologist like myself. Which states tend to need neurologists? I know North Dakota, South Dakota, Wisconsin, and Minnesota are big ones. You don't want to pick Rhode Island, where I happen to be from, which never needs a neurologist. So plan ahead, a core number of states, and then try and choose a hospital that has recurring need, so when you go back to the hospital a second or third time, you don't have to start from the very beginning with credentialing. There's even more. Each state has a PMP, prescription monitoring program. You have to sign up. You have to change your password. So there are many aspects of credentialing that are demanding, and I think it's the biggest limitation to a carefree, easygoing life of locums. But as a compulsive, organized physician, as we all are, it's not too hard to get all these documents together the first time and then use them again and again. I'd like to add one more topic, the Interstate Medical Licensure Compact. This is a kind of reciprocity, although it adds another $700 to your application fee for that state license. And it's not a global license. It's simply a way of verifying some of your information that you've already sent to one state so that the next state doesn't have to start from scratch. It's particularly popular in the Midwestern states. All the states don't recognize it, at least not yet. I have heard that it does speed up licensing, and it's particularly useful for people who need a lot of licenses, like telemedicine docs. So if you do need another license, you should definitely check the IMLLC and see whether there's reciprocity for the state that you're interested in to speed things along. Well, we made it through Chapter 9. It's a relief. All the other chapters are a lot more fun to talk about. Thanks for watching.